Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Donita and this is Editor.
Hello.
And today we have a wonderful guest and a very dear friend of ours, Ricardo Villalba. And we know Ricardo from many years back, and he is a fantastic musician and a dear friend that is passionate about helping people through somatic trauma therapy, through his music, through space holding, and through his beautiful heart, sharing his beautiful heart with everyone. So thank you, Ricardo, for being here today, and welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And could you please tell us, well, us actually, and everyone else, who is Ricardo? Like, how did you, who are you, and about your passion, and kind of like a little bit about your journey of how you got here.
I got here. So my name is Ricardo Villalba. I'm an acupuncturist and somatic awareness coach, and I've been how I got here. So I would say I was in the military for 8 years, and I sustained a couple injuries throughout my career, and then my last year I sustained a really bad injury. I had a kidney contusion. I injured my back at the last unit I was working, and during that time I was going through my recovery. My hair was falling out. I got diagnosed with like arthritis, and I had pain all over my body, and it was kind of like stumping all the doctors why I had these symptoms, and I was getting injection therapy, and they were giving me like drugs, sleeping pills, and as the time went on, I started to get depression and anxiety, and I didn't understand what was happening. And so I was kind of at my wit's end, and then I started looking for answers, and I started working with acupuncturists, chiropractors, and so finally I met my teacher. His name's Dr. Paul Canale. He practices in Miami, and he taught me the ways of somatic awareness coaching, and I mean, he's just an expert in the field. So as soon as I got to meet him and started working with him, I got so much relief from what I was doing, from what I was feeling, and I knew it was for me, right? So as you know, somatic work, it can be deeper work, right? Because you're going inwards, right? And you're paying more attention to your body, and there's this whole world that we have inside of us that we normally don't know, right? Like collectively, when we have pain or we're going through some kind of discomfort, it's like, how can I find answers outside of myself, right? So I'd never done that before. I externalized everything. I was always looking for answers outside of myself. And like I said, I had a lot of like the musculoskeletal pain. I had the anxiety, depression. So all those symptoms, and it all came at once. And I think a lot of people go through that where it's like I call it the trifecta, right? Something happens in your job, you lose your job, or there's something, a significant change. There's health issues going on, and there might be something going on with big changes in relationships in your life. It could be your family, it could be your romantic partner, your friends. And all those things started happening, and I wasn't ready for it. And I kind of approached life in a simple way, but I think life wanted to teach me something. So I stepped out of my comfort zone and I started working with Dr. Canale. So I transitioned out of the military. I went to school for acupuncture, and then I got my master's and my medical license. And then as I was doing that program, I was working with Dr. Canale. So I would learn a lot about acupuncture and Eastern medicine, right? And that school teaches Eastern and Western medicine. And then with Dr. Canale, we were studying a lot about somatics in the body. So throughout that time, I got a really good understanding and did a lot of deep healing work on myself. right? And just learned more of how much control we do have over ourselves, right? And even with say, for example, with depression and anxiety, we have all these emotions. Like, you can break it down to like five core emotions, I would say. There's sadness, there's anger, there's fear, there's joy, and then there's actually that a lot of people don't know, but disgust is a big emotion that we carry. And those things are, I would say, 80% of our intelligence is our emotions, right? Like they're the driver. Like, they carry our will, they carry our drive from our energy source to our brain, right? It's like how we're going to make that expression in the world. And if and this is what I did, is I suppressed everything. That's what I was taught 100%. Like, if I was, like, say, if I was in the military, if I was away from my family, if there's something I didn't want to do, or if there's something that was dangerous, you just had to do the thing with no expression, right? It was, and if you condition yourself to continually suppress how you feel, and it's not only in the military, culturally, a lot of people, our parents are our authority of what we can express, what to say, when to say it. And that's what we learn. We learn more from our family than we do in school, in books, right? Because a lot of it you absorb. It's in the atmosphere. And a lot of things are nonverbal that we pick up. So that way of being is just taught, right? Like, what are other people doing? How are women supposed to be? How are men supposed to be, right? So then, it's okay for a while when you're younger, you don't really question it. And then you get into your 30s and 40s, and then there's like this, life pulls the rug from under you, like, what's happening? Or it could be like, any situation, right? It could be in a marriage with a partner where we were doing fine, and then all of a sudden, a lot of people say that all of a sudden things went bad, right? But it's not really all of a sudden. And I think over the years, what I've been told, what I've seen over and over again, is that life is really in control, and it's here to teach you lessons, right? So the patterns that we continue to experience over and over and over again, if we don't get the lesson, it gets faster and it gets harder until we listen. And so I'm a very good student, so I picked up on that, and so when I saw that what's really causing this pain is like our inability to adapt to what's happening in our environment, right? So I think a lot of times, like in school, we put a lot of value on memorization, right? So if you memorize material, you'll get the good grade. And if you get the good grade, then you're a good student. If you're a good student, you're a good person, right? But when you finish that program and you're out in life, memorization really is just like, it's maybe like 1% of what you need to survive, right? Because a lot of what our life is relationships with ourselves, relationships with other people. And you can stop me at any time if you have any questions. But so it's relationships with other people, and so our relationship with ourselves dictates how it is that we approach the world, right? Like, if my self-esteem is high and I know I deserve, I'm going to do all the things I want to do, all the things that fill me with joy. I'm going to take the opportunities, take the risks. I'm going to introduce myself to people. If I have a low self-esteem, if I have a poor relationship with myself, I'm going to isolate myself, right?
I want to
But
say something.
yeah,
Yeah, the relationship with ourselves, but it's also like how comfortable or uncomfortable I am with the environment. But it's the environment with me uh, seeing, viewing the environment outside of me. So if I'm not comfortable with the environment, this is what you're talking about. I'm going to separate myself from other people. I'm going to judge myself. I'm going to do all kinds of things because the relationship with myself is not established the way how I would love to be established at this moment, so I'll feel comfortable with this situation.
Right. And then, and also, so when we're judging the environment, I'm not comfortable with the environment. We're not, there's something in the environment we're seeing through goggles that it's overwhelming for me. Right. But that's going back to the emotions, right? Like that environment, it's like, I feel danger, so I get angry, or, I don't feel included, so I get sad, or I lost something out there, right? And I have this grief. And so if I don't know how to process that emotion, and that's a lot of the work we do in the somatic work. If I don't know how to process that emotion, then my body is starting to throw me, and I'll talk a little bit about the autonomic nervous system is the body starts to throw you symptoms, right? And you're both familiar with this, right? It's like, and it boggles a lot of people's minds. Like, so the autonomic system is like, it's there to protect us, it's to keep us alive, right? So if you take, for example, I love using this example, right? Like if you were to walk out and into your yard and you saw a tiger, what would you do?
Run as
You know,
fast as I can.
Actually talking about that, everybody would react differently.
Right. I've heard people say I would pet the tiger, like I would make friends with it. But no, I but I would run. I would run. But in that approach is you have to, based on your perception of the world, of what you're seeing, right? This animal with big fangs, an apex predator. It's the body is going to sense danger and want to protect you. So you have to mobilize energy. So that's where the autonomic system comes in, right? It's mobilizing energy, right? So it's increasing your heart rate. You're breathing more to take oxygen in. Your heart rate's accelerated so you can pump blood to the extremities, right? Your arms, your legs. You're producing acid, you're producing cortisol, you're producing adrenaline, right? All these hormones to get you into an action-taking state. And so this is based on perception, right? And it's fine if when you're in those places of danger, this is normal. This is by design so that we can survive and escape the threat. Now, that software is kind of old because we still experience those things based on perception. So for example, gas goes up 50 cents, rent goes up, my sister said something to me I didn't like, my boyfriend didn't call me, but whatever the story is, based on our outside world, we'll have this survival threat response, right? I'm not okay with what happened, right? And now I'm having this caveman, cavewoman experience that I have to, clench my fist, clench my jaw, right? Or tense up, or I want to run away, or I want to shut down, right? So they're all survival responses. And so what I see is the shortcoming of how it's dealt with is that, say, for example, you go somewhere and you say, well, I'm having panic attacks, right? Immediately you'll be put on medication, right? There's no really review of someone's lifestyle, what they're going through. And so what we do as somatic awareness coaches is we'll do an assessment and we'll look at somebody's ACE score, right? Their adverse childhood experiences. And so there's other trauma scores. Basically, you're looking at, how did I grow up, right? Did I have food? Did I feel loved? Did my parents want even to have a boy or a girl, right? Did we stay in one place, or did we have to move because of whatever was going on in the world, right? Was there, did I get positive physical touch, or was there negative physical touch, or was there a negative verbal affirmation, right? So those things affect us, right? So in that time those things are happening, if it's negative, we'll make a story that we're not safe, right? Because that's what children need. And so we grow up very fast and we just hold on to those ideals. So then fast forward, now you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, or whatever it is, you're in a relationship and somebody says something or does something, and we filter it through our survival feed. They said this, so it means that. They raised their voice, so it means this, right? So if you stay in an environment like that long enough, it could be at work, it could be anywhere. If you stay in that environment enough, you'll eventually, all that mobilization of energy, right? The elevated heart rate, the breathing, all these things, your body is, that's a catabolic process where you have to break down tissue to survive. But that's called disease, because you can't stay in that state, that elevated state, for a long time, because your energy is going to drop, your immune system is going to drop, your digestive function will drop, so things like that. So when I see people, and I'm, yes, as an acupuncturist, we'll address them with acupuncture, we'll give them nutrition, right? Sometimes you'll do some blood labs, but a lot of times there's only a certain amount of substance you can give somebody, right? So a lot of our nutrition we pull in from the environment, right? Whole foods. Past that, there's no other nutrients that you really should be depending on, right? We should be depending on what's coming out of the ground, in my opinion, right? But yeah, so a lot of people get lost. Like, how do I get from this place of depression, right? I have depression. I might have digestive issues. I might have sleep issues, right? I have a low energy level. I keep getting sick. I can't get over this cold, things like that. But the thing is what they're not changing is their environment, because they're just used to it. So the brain is like, once you're just surviving, the brain wants to keep you there because it wants to conserve energy, right? So this is why people never move out of that job. They never move out of that relationship, right? Or they'll never make that change in their body, because it's just enough to live. There's nothing pressing them, right? So until people, and this is what I see, is like, until people get to like an extreme place, that's when they normally reach out. So there's a lot of work to be done. So, I spend, between anywhere from, 2, 4, 6 months with people working. And then, I guess, I do a full intake with them, and I look at what their health goals are and what's immediate, what needs to be addressed, what's dangerous for them, what dangerous state they're in, that we need to address that more quickly, right? And then, but yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for explaining all of that, because sometimes people come for any kind of work like this and they think that one session is going to cure everything what was happening for their whole life. So thank you for the explanation.
And I also would like to, yes, it's not a quick fix.
Well, I want to actually make it this. There's something that we need to distinguish, right? Because I went through this and I was kind of confused, because I do go to I go to the VA, and over time I saw that some of the things, like, there's some things that, like, in my body we're just not repairing. Like I stayed with some things for a while. So we have to start making a distinguishment between what disease management is, and then regenerative and restorative medicine is completely different, right? Because that, like, disease management is the pill. That's what that is, right? Or it's the surgery. We're just going to cut it out, or, we're going to suppress your symptoms with, it's a chemical suppressant, right? You're having anxiety, we're going to block your alpha receptors, we're going to block your beta receptors, so that you don't feel physically the symptoms, right? But that's the opposite we do in regenerative care, is that you want to feel your vitality, right? So you're taking what those symptoms are, because it's all energy, right? So all energy is like, there's a law of thermodynamics, right? You can't create nor destroy energy, but you can transform it, right? So if I'm having elevated heart rate, objectively, my brain doesn't know it's a tiger, right? I know it's a tiger, but there's a part of my brain that doesn't know it's a tiger. It's just saying that you need to get the hell out of here, right? So it'll start that process of catabolizing tissue, mobilizing energy. That process that process of breaking down tissue is normal. So anyway, going back to the law of thermodynamics is if you have energy, if I have an elevated heart rate and I sustain it for a long time, I might start to develop high blood pressure, right? But the thing is what's really causing that? Is it my environment, or is there truly a blockage? Then that's when disease management is like, I would say that the efficacy is high there. But you can still address that with nutrition, right, and lifestyle change.
I love that. Thank you so much for going into depth about all of it, because it's very real and it's very present in everybody's, it's very present right now in our lives. And having the awareness and the, you know, the knowing and the awareness about it, we can actually make changes. We can actually, you know, awareness is power to make changes for ourselves, to better our lives. And, you know, yes, people coming to you, but what can you actually, as tips or ways for people to start when they see this and they recognize that there is an imbalance in their life, can actually start implementing every day by themselves, for themselves, to better their lives?
They got the awareness that something is not right here.
Well, this is what I say about awareness first, is that awareness is something that continually goes on. So they may recognize that there's, say, like, for example, a physical problem or an emotional problem. But at that point, it's like, again, when you see there's a problem, the brain's going to kind of start acting, and it's going to start trying to solve the problem, right? But it's still using the old software. So one thing is always working with someone, right? Like, let somebody get a second set of eyes and continually work with that person, because even myself, like, I have a support system around me, right? As much information that I can spew off or memorize or whatever it is, and I still get stuck. So I have people in my life, I have practitioners I go to that I don't try to resolve things by myself. That's number one, right? Because I can get stuck in my head, and I know that. So I'm always checking in with people, right? So that keeps me safe. And that's another way of, like, even if it's like, that's still like a social outreach, right? Say, for example, like, oh, I have the awareness, I have depression, I have the awareness, I have anxiety. I'm embarrassed, or I'm shamed. I shouldn't, you know, and that's kind of the process that we kind of go into, and it keeps us isolated. So even with the awareness is that have a support system around you. So for example, like, you might work with an acupuncturist, a massage therapist, you might work with people that do chiropractics, or they might work with essential oils, but whatever it is, it's like, these people are doing this every day and they're seeing different things, right? Like, the person is having the awareness of something wrong. I just want to go to work. I just want to get in my car and drive and then go to dinner. And it's like, I don't want to deal with it, right? So if I don't want to deal with it, I'm not going to develop a healthy strategy, right? So then that brings us to then what strategy would put me in a place where I can start to do restorative and regenerative things, right? And I think before that we started the call, we talked about breathing, right? That's one thing. Now, breathing, there's so many different types, right? It's not, you know, and again, not all these practices are for everybody, right? But we can do gentle breathing. And I'm going to give you an example. Yesterday, okay, I ordered, I went to the local mall here, and I ordered a pair of shoes, and I had them delivered. They went to an old address, and I saw the email, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. And as soon as I saw that, like, I got triggered, right? Like, I was frustrated. Okay. So, you know, it may not be a big deal to a lot of people, but if you have these small triggers throughout the day, cortisol's increasing and increasing and increasing. And it's when our cortisol goes up, our immune system drops, our ability to actually think drops, right? So I got in my car and I'm like rushing to my old address at 9:30 at night, and I'm speeding. And I was like, wait, I shouldn't be doing this. I started breathing, right? Like I took maybe like 10 deep breaths, and I didn't like it at first. You know, a lot of these practices you don't like because it goes against the brain. The brain wants to fix now, right? So when you're developing these practices, that's exactly what they are. Start to develop them and start to make a friendship with them, because then what you're doing is you're conditioning yourself. Instead of the autonomic response to reaction, you're gonna auto-regulate, right? And that's what you're really talking about. You're talking about auto-regulating your body. So I do have a breath practice I do every day. And you know, I'll do like 60 to 90 breaths, like deep breaths. And then that'll just prime my body where I'm taking in oxygen. So the more oxygen we have, the less that our heart has to work. So the less that our heart's working, the less pressure on the arteries, right? The less pressure on your organs, like your kidneys, right? Because when the heart pressure goes up, you're putting pressure on your kidneys. You know, so people from just, you know, kidney issues, they'll develop urinary issues and things like that. Or, you know, and then also it's bringing down your cortisol, your stress levels. The second thing I would do is make it a point to have fun. This is something that I think we all forget about, right? And I think we're all serious about the kind of work we do, and then we want to kind of continue transforming into like this highest version of ourselves. But you can't do that without that energy of relaxing, right? So I like to go to the beach. I get sun, you know, and the sun gives us a lot of vitamin D, which is important for production, that helps us sleep, right? So all these life cycle things, they kind of tie in together, right? Like you're working with the breath, you know, you're going out, you're getting play, you're getting sunlight, you're breathing fresh air. And I know it sounds simple, but there's nothing really like, and I watched a lot of these people doing like biohacking things and all sort of stuff, but a lot of the health stuff that you can do for yourself is free. I'm gonna repeat that. It's free and it's a choice, and you have to create time for it, right? There's no magic bullet, you know? So that's the second thing. And I think the third thing would be, I always recommend people, you know, work with a therapist, talk to somebody, because a lot of times we don't get to talk to people, and we don't get to be heard or listened to. And so we kind of get stuck here, and then we could get in this like circular thinking. And I'll say, like, even for myself, like, and I think people that are overthinkers, I think they're the sickest people. And because the brain can backfire on you, and I don't think we completely understand it. And I think it's a lot more simple to just be somewhere with someone who's objective and let yourself talk, let yourself be heard without being judged, without being criticized, right? And have that person, and that person is supporting you move through something, because we don't get that in every day, right? A lot of people, like, we like to talk about ourselves, or we like to criticize, or we are talking about issues in the world, and that doesn't do anything for us, right? I mean, physically. Those are a couple of things.
Agree.
Absolutely. And it's just thank you for everything. There's just like perfect, and it's so many nuggets.
Yeah.
You're amazing. So many nuggets and so many useful, practical tools, especially now, as we're all living in this constantly changing world right now.
And going back to what you said about having fun, I would say just be more creative with whatever the person like to do. Like lately, I am painting a lot, and that came to me for help. So people love to cook. People love to just do gardening or
Get
something.
curious.
Yes.
Yeah, like you, Ricardo, you're a fantastic musician, and that's
Yeah.
healing. Everything that comes,
Music.
music, art,
Mm-hmm.
knitting. We have a friend that is knitting
Yeah.
beautiful things, and it's new, and she's just crocheting. Was it crocheting?
Crochet. I think lately we are looking for things like this for ourselves, just to, because this is a calming our nervous system, definitely bring us so much of joy and happiness. Simple, in a simple way.
It's like a unique, your personal way to reconnect with yourself, right? To reconnect to that inner child and just that infinite joy and infinite, because it's from within. So when you're a child, you create. You become, you remember, you create. You know you're the creator.
We use a lot of our imagination when we are kids, and
But then-
later it's less and less of it.
Well, like you said, Ricardo, in the beginning, the conditioning and the upbringing is like the suppression of our emotions, the control, what you're supposed to be saying, what you're not supposed to be saying, when are you supposed to feel, when you're not supposed to feel. You're embarrassing me now. Little boys don't cry. I grew up remembering all that. And
What
then
you're supposed to do.
Yeah, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. Don't interrupt the adults when they speak. Shut, keep your mouth closed, shut, kind of thing. Then
Shut down.
we shut down.
Yeah.
We shut down that child, that innocence, that not the innocence, but that creativity, that childlike, infinite joy, that life.
Yeah, simple joy, happiness.
Just being happy to see the sun shining.
Yeah.
Just feeling that warmth in the body just from watching, I don't know, birds chirping, the waves on the beach, children playing. Just get so busy in our heads. So everything you shared today was so beautiful and so good.
And we are busy in our life instead of creating the time for ourselves.
We're busy instead of living
Yes.
life. So, it's time to start living again, right?
What's that?
It is time to start living again.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And it's okay, I think it's okay to be busy. It's like I think life goes in cycles, but there's times that we take the responsibility. It's like I remember in this last 2 years, I've been building my practice in Fort Lauderdale, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to build a business. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to do anything. And I'm continuing. That's why I'm busy, because I don't know how to do it. It's taking me time to learn how to do it. And now I'm getting busier in a good way, where I'm getting to help a little bit more. And so like it goes in cycles. So then like you can breathe for a little bit. And now I have I do a lot of men's work. So I'm in different men's groups, and we challenge each other. And so I'm seeing a lot of the men in the group, and they're growing and they're taking on different projects, and it's inspiring me and also helping me get some clarity to now start, like I'm at a place where I'm going to start teaching and sharing and creating courses on the work that I'm doing in somatics. And so that's scary, but again, I think it is good to be busy, but I do like to go outside, and I ride my bike to the beach, because that is what for me helps me feel like a little boy.
But you see, that's beautiful. But you're busy
With what you love.
with your passion.
Yes.
You're busy bringing your passion to life. That's different from
Yes.
being busy and running like a hamster in a wheel.
Yeah.
and not knowing who you are and where is up and where is down. This is you growing and evolving as a soul and bringing your passion. Like you're connected to that child within. So you're actually creating from that joy, like the
Yeah.
love, the inner, you're growing, you're healing, you're remembering, and you're bringing that passion into the outer world. That's a wonderful busy.
That's why it works.
That's why it works, yes. Because it's because I can feel I get chills just listening to you, because that's it's like you're bringing that soul wisdom in through your body into your outer world, your soul's expression. And that's a fantastic busy. If everyone would be this busy, it would be a happy world.
What do you ladies do to get yourself in a state of play?
Lately, I paint, but yes, this, or I just go outside. Like yesterday, I went to our warm mineral spring where I live. That was just so much fun, just being in the water, just relax. I love to relax myself a lot. Put it this way.
I've got lots of pets.
Yeah.
Just even the property, lately I haven't done it, but because it's also hot. And, gardening when I do, but even like the home with the pets, and when it's cooler, walking them, going into the wilderness and walking my dogs.
Bicycle,
and even for
in
me,
the winter.
Yes. And for me, actually, what's fun as well is it's not like learning, but like the astrology, like I'm passionate, like the gene keys, the human design is just exploring and just having the space, creating the space and the time for myself to do what I feel like, even smelling oils while I'm connecting, charts and playing in that realm, it's like doesn't have to be. That's what my feeling is, my thoughts is like it doesn't have to be this scripted, for fun. It can be even learning, as long as it's bringing you joy.
Learning new things.
Yeah. As long as, like our friend, the crochet is a new thing. So she wasn't, and now she is, and she's so good at it.
Yeah.
And she's happy. You'd never painted before, and now you're a fantastic artist.
Thank you.
So
yeah, I think it's a lot of way. We just I think we just have to discover what we like to do, but that will come from the place of inner peace. When we take ourselves into the inner peace, that things will come for us.
And I think it's also very important when we create a space for ourselves, and because we're so good at giving our time and energy to everyone else and putting our needs and everything else. So creating the space and creating the time and the space to actually be with ourselves, to actually discover what is it that I like to do, what do I want to do, what do I like to do, what do I want to learn.
Yeah, being in a service to others required from us at first to feel be able to do it. So we have to take care of ourselves at first to be able to give. We can't give from the empty cup.
Yeah, I think it's like we're just learning, like the shifting.
Yeah, giving.
Like what you shared in the beginning as well is like taking care of yourself first. So it's, looking after you, taking care of you first, and just bringing that inner peace and inner equilibrium and the love, because that's naturally is just gonna evolve. I mean, it's just gonna ripple into your outer world. So what does Ricardo love to do for fun besides going to the beach and getting sun?
I love to ride my bike. I like to go to the park and actually climb trees.
I grew up in trees. I grew up in trees.
Did you have like a tree house?
No, not like
Climbing
this.
up.
It was more like I was born and grew up in a capital, in a city, and I never had physical space. So the tree, it was an old oak tree, not oak, a walnut tree at my grandparents' house, and that was my imaginary. I just climbed it, and every branch was like an apartment. I was just imagining space. So I grew up in trees, creating, my reality. It was just a different. It was fun. I loved it. On the roof of, climbing the roofs of the houses,
Yeah.
stealing neighbors' pears and apples.
I, 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 I love to, and I still love to sit down in a tall grass, or just lay down, just look at the sky, look at you know, the clouds and everything, and this is giving me so much joy.
You should come visit us. I've got big tall trees here, plenty to climb.
Okay, I would love to.
Okay.
Funny. What's that?
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Well, I was telling you about some friends, and I was telling you about some friends on the over in the Naples area, Fort Myers area, and I wanted to go visit them. So 2 weeks ago, um, 2 weeks ago, I had a, we had floods here in Fort Lauderdale, and my car got totaled. So yeah, and so I had to end up buying a new car. So I get to now. I want to take a road trip. So it'd be good to come over and I don't have to worry about my car breaking down or anything like that.
Oh yeah, no, no. That's nice. Yeah, that's a nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice safe place where we are.
Yeah.
But anyway, as we're coming to an end, is there
Yes.
anything else you would like to share or say? Anything, any, from your heart? Anything to our listeners?
I would definitely say that I think in these times what's extremely important is connecting to yourself, however you can do that. And because the power that we have really is it is in ourselves. And there's so many teachers out there, there's so many people to work with that can help show you that. And it's an ongoing thing because it's like an infinite world. And the more that we have people connect with themselves and they're able to lift themselves up, then all of a sudden they become beacons of light to help others. And it can be hard out there. So use every tool that you have accessible to you. Never give up. And also remember to play.
Beautiful, wise words, and very, very potent for these times. Very needed for these times. A nice reminder for us all. So thank you so much, Ricardo, for being here with us today and sharing your heart and your wisdom with us. And looking forward to chatting more in the future.
If you liked.
If you'd like.
Too.
And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and leave us comments. Share the episode if you'd like. It helps us grow our channel. And till next time, look after yourselves. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.